So the United States is gearing up to host the APEC summit in November, and expectations are building that China's Xi would meet with President Biden on the sidelines of APEC after missing a chance for a face-to-face meeting at the G20 in India. But will the Chinese president skip the San Francisco summit, fearing embarrassment on the world stage? Well, earlier, with no official explanation, Xi Jinping did not go to the G20 summit in New Delhi this month. Chinese Premier Li Qiang attended in his place. The decision prompted the United States to say that China was giving up on the G20 and was building an alternative world order. President Xi Jinping is under pressure at home, delivering the National Day speech. He said, and this is a quote, "The road ahead will not be smooth. China's economy is showing signs of weakness. The storm clouds continue to persist, and the data shows missed growth expectations, and consumers remain cautious." As President Xi reasserted his power of the Communist Party within the economy and redirected Chinese business inward. Chinese trade is under threat. China, long described as the workshop of the world, remains highly dependent on exports, vulnerable to changes in this global economy. The threat of recession in the U.S. and Europe, combined with galloping inflation, is weakening international demand for Chinese products. And then there are signs of political turmoil in Beijing. The U.S. government believes China's defense minister Li Shangfu is the subject of an investigation by Beijing and has been relieved of his duties. Earlier, Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang disappeared and was ousted from his post in July. China also replaced the leadership of its rocket force, the army unit that oversees its nuclear arsenal, in July, with its former commander Li Yuchao, not seen in public for weeks before the change. The United States and China have one of the world's most important and complex bilateral relationships. That's no secret. Since 1949, the countries have experienced periods of both tension and cooperation over issues including trade, climate change, and of course, Taiwan. Dialogue between Beijing and Washington has been gradually resuming despite tension. Beijing has been critical of Washington's continued attempts to deepen military alliances in the Asia-Pacific region, and has particularly disapproved of bases that the U.S. military is building in the north of the Philippines, facing democratically governed Taiwan. China has long advocated partnerships rather than alliances and is not part of any military bloc. Its sole remaining ally after the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 is North Korea, to which China is bound by a 1961 treaty to come to its defense if attacked. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by foreign policy analyst Edward P. Joseph from Washington, D.C. He is also a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins University. Thank you so much for joining us, Edward. You know, China is yet to confirm Xi's presence at the APEC summit next month. Xi also skipped the G20. So is he staying away from global events due to domestic pressure, in your opinion?
Clearly, something is going on in Beijing that is keeping Xi Jinping away from what he normally would relish, which is an opportunity to shine and demonstrate Chinese leadership on the world stage, such as at the G20, hosted by none other than India, a rival to China. So it's clearly unmistakable that there are concerns that Xi, the way that they are weighing these appearances in Beijing, suggests that there is clear compromise. And we can imagine whatever concerns there were about the G20 in India will be magnified tenfold by an appearance at the APEC summit in November in the United States, in San Francisco, with President Biden hosting, and of course, all of these APEC members watching, as well as the citizens of the United States watching very closely. So this is a development that not only in Beijing, but in Washington as well, the orchestration of this will be very, very carefully managed, both in the dynamics in the communication in the run-up and in the actual event itself and any meeting between President Biden and President Xi that might take place. Please.
And on Sunday, she said that the days ahead are not smooth as they are full of external and internal challenges. Do you think that this is a reflection of the pressure that's mounting on the Chinese president?
Yes, obviously, he's signaling. Anytime you have a world leader make that kind of a tone, there's going to be pressures on us. He's signaling, he's creating a framework in which there will be understanding for any measures that she has to take place. It's in a form of an alibi. He's facing severe economic contraction in China. China has not really come back from the change it made on its very strict zero tolerance for COVID and on opening up the Chinese economy. The Chinese economy did not bounce back the way other economies bounced back, including notably the American economy, following the formal end of the COVID pandemic. And that puts Xi under tremendous pressure at home because, of course, the legitimacy of the PRC, the political party that is running China, in the hands of Xi Jinping, who has centralized power to an unprecedented degree, the legitimacy rests on rising economic growth in China, and that presents a fundamental challenge for President Xi.
Right, and demonstrating that the Chinese model can be successful and whatnot. Edward P. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. We'll be following the story, of course, very closely. It's hard to imagine November is so close.
Likewise. Thank you very much.